The night my husband ended our marriage, I was 6 months pregnant with triplets, sitting across from him in a glass conference room while rain crawled down the windows like the whole city was crying for me. Cole Hargrove did not cry. He did not even look sorry. He sat at the far end of a polished table in a dark suit that cost more than the car I used to drive before I married him. His wedding ring was already gone. His phone was face down beside his hand. His attorney sat next to him with a neat stack of papers and a soft voice, as if kindness could make cruelty sound professional. My name is Brooke Ellery. That evening I walked into that office tower in downtown Minneapolis as a wife. I walked out as an ex-wife with 3 unborn babies, a few $100s in my bank account, and nowhere safe to sleep. The attorney pushed the folder toward me. "Mrs. Hargrove," she said, "these are the final documents." Final. Such a clean word for something that felt like being buried while still breathing. But his face was calm, perfectly calm. "Cole," I said, "is this really how you want to do this?" He glanced at the papers. "This is the cleanest way." "The cleanest way for who?" He finally looked at me. "Don't make this dramatic." But one of the babies moved under my hand. A small flutter. A reminder that I was not alone, even if the man across from me had already decided I was disposable. His attorney continued explaining the agreement. I had 24 hours to leave the apartment. My access to shared accounts would end at midnight. A temporary payment had already been sent to my personal account. Temporary payment. That was how rich people dressed up abandonment. I opened my banking app under the table. A few $100s, that was all. 5 years of marriage, 3 unborn babies. A life I had helped him build behind closed doors. A few $100s. I looked up at him. "You know I'm pregnant." Cole's jaw tightened. "I know. Your children are inside me." "That will be handled later through proper channels." Handled. Like I was a contract. Like my babies were future assets. Like there were no heartbeats, no tiny feet, no little bodies pressing against me every night when I tried to sleep. Then his phone buzzed. He turned it over, read the message, and almost smiled. I saw the name before he hit it. Brielle. Something inside me went quiet. Not calm, not peaceful. More like a door closing. The attorney pointed to the signature line. I signed. I signed because I was tired. Because my back hurt. Because I was scared that if I fought Cole in that room, he would enjoy watching me break. I signed because years with him had taught me to mistake survival for surrender. When the last page was done, he stood and buttoned his jacket. Before leaving, he leaned close enough that only I could hear him. "I gave you enough to survive for a few days," he said. "Don't make me look cruel." I stared at him. The words left my mouth before I could stop them. "You don't need my help for that?" Well, for 1 second, his face changed. A flash of anger. Then he smoothed it away and walked out. The bus arrived with a tired hiss. I climbed on slowly and sat near the middle. Nobody looked at me for long. Everyone was wrapped in their own problems, their own wet coats, their own phones. I placed both hands over my stomach. "We're gonna be okay?" I whispered. I wanted the babies to believe me. I wanted to believe myself. The first pain came 5 minutes later. Sharp, deep, so sudden I gripped the seat in front of me. At first, I told myself it was nothing. Just stress. Just a cramp. Just fear turning into something physical. Then another pain came, stronger than the first. My breath broke. "No," I whispered. "Please, not tonight." The bus hit a pothole and I cried out. A woman across the aisle looked up. "Are you okay?" I tried to answer, but my body folded forward. Someone said, "She's pregnant." Someone else asked if I needed an ambulance. The driver kept moving. Then a man stood 2 rows behind me. He was tall, broad-shouldered, wearing a dark coat, with silver at his temples and a stillness that made people move out of his way without being asked. He came to my side and looked at my face, then at my stomach. "You need medical help now," he said. His voice was calm. Not gentle exactly. Controlled. "I can't." I gasped. "I don't have—" "Stop the bus." He called toward the front. The driver shouted something about traffic and the next stop. The man's voice dropped. "Stop the bus now." The bus slowed, but not enough. The man did not argue again. He lifted me carefully, one arm behind my shoulders, one under my knees. I should have been afraid. A stranger was carrying me off a city bus in the rain. But there was no panic in him, no hesitation, only purpose. The rear doors opened. Cold rain hit my face. At the curb, 3 black SUVs waited with their lights glowing through the storm. The man carried me into the nearest one and laid me across the back seat as if I was something fragile, not something inconvenient. A driver turned around. "North Star? Private entrance," the man said. "Call ahead." Then he placed a black card in my shaking hand. Gold letters shone in the dim light. Ronan Sterling. I knew that name. Everyone did. Billionaire investor. Defense contractor. Philanthropist. The kind of man politicians smiled beside and powerful men feared crossing. I looked at him through tears. "Why are you helping me?" For a moment, his expression softened. "Because someone should have helped you sooner." Before I could ask what he meant, my phone buzzed. A photo filled the screen. Cole was standing inside a hospital lobby. Behind him were 3 attorneys. Below the photo was a message. I know about the triplets. You are not leaving that hospital with my children. My hand shook so badly the phone almost dropped. Ronan leaned closer and read the message. The warmth left his face. Who sent that? My husband, I whispered. Then I looked at the divorce folder in my purse. Max, husband. As of tonight, Ronan's voice stayed quiet, but something dangerous moved behind it. To the hospital, he told the driver. And no one gets near her without my approval. I stared at him. I never told you my name. Ronan looked out at the rain. No, he said. You didn't. That was the first mystery. By morning, it would no longer be the only one. The SUV moved through Minneapolis like the city had opened a path for it. I turned my head toward him. How do you know I'm 6 months pregnant? He looked at me, and for the first time since he lifted me off the bus, I saw hesitation. I know more than I should. That is not an answer? No, he said. It isn't. Another pain rolled through me before I could press him. I squeezed my eyes shut and whispered, please, babies, stay with me. Ronan leaned forward. Brooke, listen to my voice. Your only job is to breathe. Nothing else. Not Cole, not the lawyers, not the money. Just breathe. At North Star Medical, the SUV pulled into a covered private entrance. 2 nurses and a doctor were already waiting. They rushed me into an exam room. Machines beeped. Warm hands helped me change. A nurse placed monitors around my stomach, 1 for each baby. For several terrible seconds, there was only static. Then I heard it, 1 heartbeat, then another, then a third. Fast, tiny, alive. I covered my mouth and cried so hard the nurse had to remind me to breathe. They're still with us, the doctor said. All 3. 3. My whole body went weak with relief. Ronan stood near the door, not intruding, not pretending he belonged to me, but present, watching the hallway, watching the exits, watching for Cole. He did not have to wait long. The door opened without a knock. Cole walked in wearing a rain, dark coat and the same calm face he had worn in the conference room. Behind him stood 2 attorneys and a man I recognized from Hargrove family events, a crisis manager. That was what Cole called him, a man hired to make ugly things look clean. Cole's eyes moved from me to Ronan. The room went cold. Brooke, Cole said, this has gone far enough. I had monitors attached to my stomach, an IV in my arm, and 3 babies fighting to stay safe inside me. Still, he spoke as if I had inconvenienced him. Ronan stepped between us. She is under medical care. Cole gave him a thin smile. Mr. Sterling, I didn't realize my family situation had become your entertainment. It became my concern, Ronan said, when you threatened a pregnant woman in medical distress. Cole looked past him at me. I did not threaten you. I stated a legal fact. You are unstable homeless and under the influence of a stranger. My attorneys are prepared to request temporary protection for the children. Unstable. That was how men like Cole worked. First they created the wound. Then they pointed to the blood and called you dangerous. I forced myself to sit up a little. You threw me out tonight. I gave you money. You gave me enough for dinner and a bus pass. His eyes hardened. I did not know there were 3. The room went still. Even the doctor looked at him. Because with that one sentence, Cole admitted the truth. He knew I was pregnant. He had only changed his mind when he found out I was carrying triplets. The doctor stepped forward. This patient needs quiet. Anyone not medically necessary must leave. Cole lifted a folder. My legal team? No, I said. Everyone turned toward me. My voice shook, but I kept going. You do not get to come in here after abandoning me and pretend this is concern. You do not get to call me unstable because I cried after you destroyed my life. And you do not get to stand near this bed with lawyers while my babies are being monitored. Cole stared at me like he did not recognize the sound of my refusal. Ronan turned slightly. Do you want him in this room? Then I saw the message again. You are not leaving that hospital with my children. I shook my head. No. Ronan opened the door. 2 private security officers stood outside. Cole's face went still in that frightening way it did when he was not finished, only waiting. You are making a mistake, Brooke. I placed both hands over my stomach. For the first time in years, I said, I don't think I am. He left. But I knew Cole. He did not leave because he accepted defeat. He left because he wanted a better angle. After the door closed, the doctor explained that stress had likely triggered early contractions. They were able to slow them for now, but I needed rest, strict monitoring, and no more pressure. No more pressure. I wanted to ask if she could write that on a prescription and hand it to Cole. When the room quieted, I looked at Ronan. Tell me why you know my name. He stared at the rain sliding down the window. For a long moment, I thought he would refuse. Then he reached into his coat and pulled out an old folded photograph. My breath caught. My mother stood in the picture. Grace Rowland. She was younger than I remembered her, wearing blue scrubs, her hair pulled back, smiling beside a teenage girl in a hospital bed. On the other side of the bed stood a younger Ronan Sterling, his hand resting on the girl's shoulder. I touched the photo with shaking fingers. My mother? Ronan's voice softened. She saved my sister's life. She never told me, I said. She refused money. She refused public thanks. But she asked me for one thing. And my throat tightened. What? He looked at me then, and his eyes were not billionaire eyes. They were the eyes of a man carrying an old promise. She asked me to never look away if her daughter ever needed help. I could not speak. Then Ronan said something that turned that comfort into fear. Your mother also found something dangerous before she died. Something connected to your husband's family. The monitors kept beeping. 3 heartbeats. 3 tiny lives. And suddenly, my divorce was no longer just a divorce. It was the doorway to a secret someone had been hiding for years. The next morning, a woman named Vivian Calder walked into my hospital room with a leather briefcase, sharp eyes, and the calm confidence of someone who had made powerful men regret underestimating her. Brooke Ellery, she said. I'm a family attorney. Yours? If you want me. What will Cole do next? I asked. Vivian pulled a chair close to the bed. He will build a story. He will say you are emotional, financially unstable, and being manipulated by Mr. Sterling. He will argue that the children need protection from chaos. He created the chaos. Yes, she said. That is why he needs to control the story quickly. I closed my eyes. Vivian placed a tablet on the blanket in front of me. Here is the good news. He cannot take your children just because he is rich, angry, or embarrassed. You are their mother. You are receiving medical care, and his own message is damaging. I opened my eyes. You mean the hospital text? I mean the threat. He put in writing that you would not leave with your children before any court order existed. Judges do not love that. For the first time since the conference room, a small piece of fear loosened inside me. Vivian asked for every detail. The divorce meeting. The money. The apartment deadline. Brielle. The bus. The message. Cole's words in the hospital. I told her everything. Speaking it out loud changed something. In my head, the events had felt like shame. On Vivian's tablet, they became evidence. By afternoon, the contractions had stopped. The babies remained stable, though the doctor warned me that triplet pregnancies could turn quickly. I needed peace. After medical clearance, Ronan moved me to a private recovery residence connected to his foundation. It was quiet, protected, and staffed by nurses who treated me like a person instead of a problem. On my second evening there, a white box arrived, no return address. Inside was a baby blanket, soft and cream, colored, folded around a note. Come home before strangers turn you against your family. I held the blanket for a long time. Vivian photographed the box, the note, and the delivery label. Ronan stood in the doorway. Do you want it removed? He asked. I ran my fingers over the fabric. No, I said. My children may use this one day. He does not get to ruin gentle things. But Cole was not finished. 2 days later, Vivian entered the sitting room with a face so serious that I put down my tea before she spoke. He filed an emergency petition. My hand went to my stomach. For custody. Not exactly. She placed the document in front of me. The legal language was thick, but I understood enough. Cole was asking the court for immediate protective control of the unborn children and my medical decisions. He claimed I was being influenced by Ronan Sterling. He claimed there was reason to question the paternity of the triplets. He claimed a sealed medical statement suggested the babies might be connected to another man. At the bottom of the page was one name, Ronan Sterling. The room tilted. I looked at Ronan. He had gone completely still. What does this mean? I asked. He did not answer right away. Vivian did. It means Cole is trying to turn Mr. Sterling's help into a scandal. If he can make the court believe you are hiding something, he can ask for control while everyone sorts it out. I stared at the paper. Is it true? No, Ronan said. I am not the father of your children. Then why would he say that? Because a lie with a famous name travels faster than the truth. That night, my phone rang from an unknown number. Rook, a woman whispered. Yes, it's Brielle. My body went cold. What do you want? I asked. He lied to me, she said. He told me you were not really pregnant. Then he said there was only one baby and that you were using the pregnancy to hold on to him. Then I saw the message about the triplets. How did you see that? He left his phone open in the car. Why are you calling me? Because he is not trying to protect those babies. He is trying to protect money. The room went silent except for the soft hum of the lamp beside my bed. What money? I don't know all of it, she said. But I heard him talking to a man named Ellis. Something about a trust, heirs, and a sealed clinic file. He said if the court moved fast enough, you would never find out why Ronan Sterling had been watching you. My heart began pounding. Can you send me anything? Texts, recordings, photos. I have a recording. I was scared, so I started recording him yesterday. Send it to my attorney, I said, and gave her Vivian's number. Before hanging up, Brielle whispered, I'm sorry, Brooke. I know that doesn't fix anything. No? I said it doesn't. Then, after a long silence, I added, but telling the truth is a start. Vivian came over before sunrise. Ronan stood behind a chair, arms folded, face unreadable. Vivian pressed play. Cole's voice filled the room. She doesn't know what Grace took. She doesn't even know her mother worked there before the hospital. If Sterling gets to her first, this becomes a bigger problem. Another man answered, older, nervous. And the paternity statement? It does not have to hold forever, Cole said. It only has to hold long enough to take control, long enough to make me look unstable, long enough to bury whatever my mother had known. I turned to Ronan slowly. My mother worked where? He closed his eyes for 1 second. Then he told me. Before my mother became a hospital nurse, she worked at a private fertility clinic called North Lake Reproductive. It served wealthy families who wanted privacy more than ethics. Years ago, she discovered altered donor records, missing files, and families paying to hide biological connections that could affect inheritances, medical claims, and public reputations. My mother had copied evidence before she left. Then the clinic was quietly purchased by an investment group connected to the Hargrove family, Cole's family. The air seemed to leave my lungs. Did Cole marry me because of my mother? Ronan's answer was careful. I don't know. But I know he learned who she was. And I know he became very interested in anything she left behind. I need to get into that apartment. Vivian shook her head. Not alone. I know where she would hide something. Ronan reached for his phone. But I stopped him. No, Cole expects you to move like a billionaire. Security, lawyers, cars. He expects me to hide behind you. Ronan looked at me. What are you suggesting? I felt my fear turn into something sharper. I'm suggesting we let him believe I'm still the woman he threw away. For the first time, Vivian smiled like a storm was coming. Cole expected tears. That was his mistake. Instead, Vivian filed a calm response. She attached Cole's threatening hospital message. She attached Brielle's recording. She requested an independent review of the so-called sealed medical statement. She asked the court to preserve all clinic records connected to North Lake Reproductive, the Hargrove family office, and any trust created in relation to future heirs. Then she requested something Cole did not expect: a supervised apartment retrieval, not a dramatic return, not a confrontation, just a court-approved visit to collect my personal belongings with a neutral officer present and no contact from Cole. The judge granted it by noon. By 3, I was standing in the apartment that had once been my home. It looked untouched. That hurt more than if he had destroyed it. I wanted my mother. In the hallway closet, behind a box of winter boots, I found the storage bin I had carried from apartment to apartment since I was 17. Inside were old photographs, a scarf that still faintly smelled like cedar, birthday cards, and the recipe book, Grace Rowland's Kitchen Notes. My hands shook when I opened it. At first, I saw the usual things. Pancakes. Chicken soup, lemon cake, my mother's handwriting curled across the pages. Then I checked the back cover. There was an envelope taped inside. It was empty. My stomach dropped. He found it, I whispered. Vivian leaned closer. Are you sure? She always taped things here. I ran my thumb along the spine of the recipe book. The cardboard felt thicker than it should. I lifted the edge with my nail. A hidden pocket opened. Inside was a folded strip of microfilm, a small key, and a note in my mother's handwriting. If Brooke ever needs the truth, start with the blue box. Trust the man whose sister lived. I sat down slowly because my knees almost failed. The blue box, Vivian asked. I knew exactly what it meant. There's a storage unit in St. Paul, I said. My mother rented it. I kept paying for it because I couldn't bring myself to clean it out. As we left, my phone buzzed. Cole. I let it go to voicemail. Then a text appeared. You have no idea what you are doing. For the first time, his threat did not make me smaller. I typed back one sentence. You're right. I'm learning. Then I blocked him. That evening, Vivian, Ronan, a court officer, and I went to the storage facility. The blue box was exactly where I remembered it, tucked behind Christmas decorations and my mother's old nursing textbooks. The key opened it. Inside were copies of clinic files, handwritten notes, payment records, and a sealed letter addressed to me. I opened the letter with trembling hands. My mother wrote that North Lake had changed records, hidden medical risks, and treated women and children like property. She had copied what she could because one day someone might need the truth. Her final line broke me: truth does not need to shout. It only needs to survive. By the time I finished reading, tears were running down my face. Ronan turned away, giving me privacy. Vivian did not cry. She was already building the case in her mind. The files showed everything. North Lake had altered donor records for wealthy clients. It had created false medical statements to protect family reputations. It had accepted payments through shell companies. One of those shell companies was controlled by the Hargrove family office, and one name appeared again and again: Dr. Marcus Ellis, the same Ellis from Brielle's recording, the man who had helped Cole create the sealed medical statement claiming my babies might be connected to Ronan. It was not only false, it was part of a pattern. Vivian moved fast. By the next morning, she had filed an emergency motion accusing Cole of using forged medical documents. She asked the court to subpoena Dr. Ellis, North Lake Reproductive, and the Hargrove family office. Ronan's legal team filed separately, not on my behalf, but to protect his name from fraudulent use. That mattered. It meant Cole could not pretend Ronan was controlling me. Ronan was defending himself, and I was defending my children. Brielle agreed to testify. Then she gave Vivian texts, call logs, and a second recording. In it, Cole told Dr. Ellis that the paternity statement only needed to create enough confusion to give him temporary control. If I get medical authority, Cole said on the recording, I can decide where she delivers, who sees the records, and what tests are released. My hands curled into fists under the table. He did not only want custody, he wanted my medical decisions. He wanted the power to decide what truth could exist. Vivian stopped the recording and looked at me. Brooke, when we go into court, he will try to make you react. He wants emotion because emotion helps his story. I nodded slowly. What do? You tell the truth. Clearly. Calmly. And when you feel yourself shaking, remember that shaking is not weakness. It is your body carrying you through fear. The hearing was set for Friday morning. I'm their mother. The next morning, I walked into court in a simple black dress, with Vivian beside me and 3 heartbeats inside me. Cole was already there. He looked perfect. I looked pregnant, tired, and scared. But I also looked him in the eye. And for the first time, he looked away. Courtrooms are quieter than people think. That morning, Cole tried to sound reasonable. He stood beside his attorneys and told the judge he was worried about me. He said I had been overwhelmed by pregnancy. He said I had fallen under the influence of Ronan Sterling within hours of our separation. He said the triplets needed stability, and he was prepared to provide it. Stability? I almost laughed. This was the man who had given me 24 hours to leave our home. Vivian did not interrupt. She let him talk. The judge asked, Mr. Hargrove, why did you send a message stating Mrs. Ellery would not leave the hospital with the children? Cole's attorney stood. Your Honor, emotions were high. My client was frightened for his unborn children. Vivian rose. Your Honor, may we enter the message itself into the record? The judge allowed it. The courtroom screen showed Cole's words. You are not leaving that hospital with my children. No context made it prettier. No attorney could soften it. Then Vivian played the recording from Brielle. Cole's voice filled the courtroom. It does not have to hold forever. It only has to hold long enough. Cole went pale. His attorney whispered urgently, but the damage had already entered the room. Vivian walked the judge through it. The false paternity statement. Dr. Ellis. The clinic files my mother had saved. The payment trails from a Hargrove shell company. The emergency petition built on a medical claim that was never independently verified. Then Dr. Ellis appeared by video. At first, he tried to avoid direct answers. Vivian did not let him. Did Mr. Hargrove ask you to prepare a statement implying that Mr. Sterling could be connected to the unborn children? I was asked to review possible information. That was not my question. He swallowed. Yes? Did you have verified medical evidence? No. Did you receive payment from an entity connected to the Hargrove family office? His mouth opened. Closed. Yes? The courtroom became so quiet I could hear my own heartbeat. Vivian turned toward the judge. Your Honor, this was not a father protecting unborn children. This was an attempt to weaponize forged medical uncertainty against a pregnant woman after abandoning her financially and physically during a high-risk pregnancy. Cole stood suddenly. That is not true. The judge's eyes sharpened. Sit down, Mr. Hargrove. He sat. Then Vivian called me. My legs shook when I stood. Ronan was seated behind me, but I did not look back. This was not his moment. It was mine. I took the oath. I sat down. I placed my hands over my stomach where one baby was kicking like she had opinions about the legal system. Vivian's voice was gentle. Brooke, did Mr. Hargrove know you were pregnant when he ended the marriage? Yes. Did he provide housing after the divorce meeting? No. I was given 24 hours to leave. Did he provide enough funds for medical stability? No. What happened after you left the office? I took a bus because I could not afford another option. I began having contractions. A stranger helped me get to the hospital. That stranger was Mr. Sterling, but I did not know why he helped me until later. Did Mr. Sterling father your children? No. Did you ask Mr. Sterling to interfere in your marriage? No. No. Hargrove's emergency petition was filed because he loved and feared for the babies. I looked at Cole. He stared back at me with a warning in his eyes. A year earlier, that look would have silenced me. Not anymore. No, I said. I believe he filed it because he wanted control. He wanted control over my body, my medical care, my children, and the story people would hear. Vivian gave me a moment. Then she asked, what do you want this court to understand? I took a breath. I am scared, I said. I am tired. I am still hurt. But I am not unstable. I am a mother in a high-risk pregnancy who was abandoned and threatened. I do not want revenge that hurts my children. I want protection. I want truth. And I want the right to make medical decisions without the man who threw me away using lawyers to reach back into my life. No one spoke. The judge looked down at the documents for a long time. When she ruled, her voice was calm. Cole's emergency petition was denied. My medical authority remained mine. Cole was ordered to have no direct contact with me except through attorneys. A protective order was granted. All clinic and trust records connected to the case were preserved. The false paternity statement was referred for investigation, and the judge ordered a temporary financial support arrangement that made Cole's face tighten like he had bitten glass. It was not the final end. Legal battles rarely end in one clean strike, but it was the first real victory. Within a week, the Hargrove board placed him on leave. Within 2 weeks, regulators opened an inquiry into the family office and its relationship with Northlake Reproductive. Dr. Ellis lost his hospital privileges. Vivian filed civil claims, not just for me, but on behalf of women who had been harmed by the clinic's altered records. My mother's evidence did not only protect me, it opened a locked door for others. The babies came 7 weeks later, too early but strong enough to fight. Ari came first, loud and furious. Maya came second, tiny and determined. Grace came last, quiet for one terrible second, then wailing like she had remembered she had a place in the world. I named her after my mother. When the nurse placed the babies near me, I cried in a way that came from somewhere deeper than sadness or joy. It came from survival. Cole eventually received supervised visitation rights after a long review, but no decision about my daughters could be made without court oversight. His family office settled multiple claims. Northlake Reproductive closed. Several women received records they had been denied for years. My mother's letter became part of a case file, but I kept the original in a new frame beside her photograph. Truth does not need to shout. It only needs to survive. I thought about that line often. The night Cole threw me away, he believed he was leaving me with nothing. No home, no money, no power. But he was wrong. He left me with the one thing control can never survive. A reason to stop being afraid. Months later, I stood across from the same office tower with Ari against my chest, Maya in the stroller, and Grace sleeping under the soft blanket Cole had sent as a warning. He did not get to ruin gentle things. Because the man who tried to take everything from me had only taught me how much strength I had left. And the life he thought he ended became the life my daughters and I finally got to begin.